the topic of having good centers, like old school type of centers, like for example Patrick Ewing, Hakeem Olajuwon, David Robinson, Shaquille O'Neal. We don't have those type of players anymore in the league. What do you think? Or how do you think the center position evolved in the last 20 years? Because it seems that we don't have any more big men that are dominant in the paint as we used to before.
Right. Well, I think the analytics have a big part to do with that,
Mm-hmm.
because a post up is one of the worst analytical shots you can take, believe it or not, unless you have a Shaq. Like, you have your outliers. You have your guys who, Shaq, Hakeem, the greats.
Mm-hmm.
But for the rest of the people, that's not a effective shot,
Mm-hmm.
And so, and there's too much traffic. You can double team. You can do so much to take away a big's scoring opportunities on the block. So coaches have to be more strategic. Either you're going to have a guy who rolls, kind of like Christian Wood, DeAndre Ayton, those tall, slender guard bigs that can screen and dive hard and create rotational problems. Or you will have a Joel Embiid that he's big enough to go on the block, but he's also skilled enough to go on the elbow or shoot a three, or he's a good passer, and so there's not many Joel Embiids or Mark Gasols.
Nikola Jokic is a great player.
Exactly.
And he's actually one of those centers, now that you brought it up, he's one of the centers that is actually a great passer. So whenever they double team him,
yes,
he just kicks it out and that's a bucket.
He's a 7-foot point guard, and he's so skilled, man. It's crazy.
So when talking about player development, this is one of the hardest things for coaches to do, is get players to buy in. And this is something that you kind of brought up previously, that you take care of who they are as people. But, how do you get them to buy into a system?
Well, you have to be honest with them. And in my experience, I've seen NBA coaches not necessarily afraid to coach, but they are reluctant to tell their superstar the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And every player wants to be respected. That doesn't mean you lie to me. Just don't talk to me as if I'm a child, right? And this is something I'm going to say it, and it is what it is. The American players, the league is predominantly black.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a lot of white head coaches. Some have the ability to communicate with black players, but most of them don't, right? Most of them would rather let the black assistant coach deal with the black player.
Interesting.
But I'm sorry?
Interesting, very interesting, yeah.
But the white head coaches who were really good, like Popovich, the key is humility. As great as Popovich is, he's so humble. He wants to know that everything about you as a person first, right? He stands up for what you believe in as a black man in America. So when things are happening in society, Popovich, Steve Kerr, those guys are first to say something against the injustices that we experience as black men. And when you go out there, that's automatically building credit with the players, right? And so many coaches, they think it's about basketball, and it's not. I don't give a damn about what you know about basketball, because if you think about it, 65% of the game, if not 70% of the game, is just up and down. The other 30% is timeouts, free throws, whatever. So essentially, I'm using my ability that I've had already. Quinn Snyder didn't make Donovan Mitchell an all-star. Donovan Mitchell was freaking great before he got to Utah. Now, what Quinn Snyder did do is he did add to his game and help him understand some tactical, technical things about basketball. But with or without Quinn Snyder, Donovan Mitchell is a phenomenal player,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so those are the types of things that has helped me build trust with NBA players, with G League players, with people in my community or different companies that I talk to,
Mm-hmm.
right? I embrace humility, man, and I'm empathetic of things that I don't know about, and I want to
Mm-hmm.
learn.
The first thing, a lot of people need to do is honestly admit that they don't know anything, and that's sort of a first step into progressing as a better human being. And a lot of people forget that.
You
And
know, when in every interview I've had, the question is, what separates you from the other coaches, or why should we hire you, and those type of questions. And I say this every single time to what you just said, Will. I say, I know that I don't know.
yeah,
And because I don't know, I'm eagerly chasing knowledge.
yeah, and it's one of the key reasons for success in a lot of people, when even though they were very knowledgeable, they
Yeah.
still were very um, humble, and they accepted that actually they can learn more.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.